Welcome to the first episode of Mentor at Ford podcast, Forward Thinking, a space where we can understand the journeys that people have been on and the difference that it makes to have the right people in your corner, the right introductions and the right advice. It makes sense to start from the beginning today, so I'm going to hand over to Haim Ozchakir to tell us a little bit about how we ended up here in the first place.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Amanda. And it's interesting to be in a position that I'm being interviewed. That's a start, but that's great. So how did it all start? It's a story that I actually ran through multiple times, but 3 years ago, I was in a position that I decided I want to give back to the community. I want to do something different than the traditional employment space that we are all in. And I was approached by an individual who asked me if I'm willing to be his professional mentor as he's going through different stages in his career. And while I've been doing that multiple times in the past, I was honored, flattered, and I said, yes, sure, let's go and do that. And a couple of days after, I got another request from another individual. And then when the third one came in, I said, there's a bigger thing here than I need to bring more people in. And that's what led into this whole concept of Mentor It Forward. The idea was to be the mentor that I wish I had when I started my journey, but to be that person for other people, to help them progress in their career. So that sparked a light. That's how we started. But things has grown quite significantly since.
I can only imagine. I mean, just looking at the numbers now, you've mentored over, 300 mentees?
So not me, but yes, the organization worked with over 300 mentees, and these are individuals from every background and every stage in life, from immigrants to university graduates to veterans, neurodivergent individuals, Aboriginals and people from remote communities, pretty much everyone. And that's what actually lead us in our journey for everyone. We don't we don't focus on a specific group because in our view, once you focus on an individual or in a group, you by definition exclude someone else. And we wanted to make it broad. We wanted to make it accessible to everyone. So yes, over 300 mentees went through the program. We had more than 12 cohorts so far. We've worked and presented and guided over 1,000 individuals across Australia, and we are operating in every state, which is quite impressive. We've got over 100 mentors, and when you think about it, we started with the idea of let's make it global, which was very great but unrealistic because people from different countries joined and they applied and they wanted to be mentees and mentors, and we accepted everyone. But very quickly we realized that this is way too much and it cannot be managed, especially when we were in our early days. So we decided let's tone it down, let's bring it to Australia, focus on Australia first. And yeah, we just grown in every place across the country.
So going back to when it did start, how did it grow from just yourself to getting other people who obviously wanted to be mentored to finding those additional mentors to get on the bandwagon and help with the journey?
So that was, I remember that event very vividly. Originally, I bounced the idea that I had coming up with a program that offer mentorship for different individuals, and I bounced it off a good friend of mine, and that's Alex from WODSI, WA Data Science Innovation Hub. And I remember the meeting with him. I told him, this is what I have in mind, and I really want to come up with some sort of a movement. Let's build a mentorship program. Let's make it accessible, free to every person, and let's just roll with it. And I remember him telling me, you know what, let's put it to the test. Start a pilot. If you can get 3 mentors from wherever, get 3 mentors, run the program for 6 months, and let's talk about it after. If that works, we'll stand alongside you and we'll support you. And it took me 3 weeks to get to 30 mentors and have a waiting list that I couldn't cope with at the time of people who want to be mentees in the program. I started with reaching out to my own network, people that I know, people that I worked with, and it's addictive. People heard about that. They wanted to be part of it because it doesn't require a lot from them other than just sharing their own experience with someone that can actually benefit from it. So it started as a conversation. I'm reaching out to every person that I know that I think that they can add value from every industry possible. And as the numbers grew and the traction started to really form into something that is continuing, we stopped looking for people because they just came and wanted to join.
So you've got quite a refined sales pitch these days, but I wonder what those first early conversations were like with the mentors. How did you spark their interest to make them want to join the team?
I think that was the most fun part of everything, because it was a concept at the time, something in my head. I wanted to do something. I had zero track record as a mentor at Ford perspective. It's just talking to people and explaining them, this is my thought process. This is what I believe people can benefit from. We all done it in our place of work, in our families, with our family members, with our kids. We always give advice and we always base it on our experience. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Nothing. So if you're already doing that and you've been very good at that, then just do it for another person that will really benefit from it. And we're all living in this environment that the majority of the time we spend on our professional careers, finding jobs, excel at our jobs, whatever that is. There's a lot of input that we can add and a lot of value that we can add to people that can really benefit from. So it was purely that. Just imagine. That was the type of conversation. Would you benefit from it when you started? And the answer was an immediate yes.
Yeah.
Would you be open to do that? To spend an hour, 2 hours of your week, not even, to talk to someone else? And the answer was yes. And whenever I got the answer of, oh, I'm too busy, I've got so much on my plate, I've got a new role, I've got a this, I've got a that, I disagree. Because I don't think there's anyone in the world that is that busy that they can't spend an hour, a fortnight, talking to someone. Doesn't exist. And if anyone's going to tell me that, I'm going to challenge them.
I love that you're not shy about challenging people. I think that that's been a key part in the growth that Mentor at Ford has experienced and will continue to experience. The structure of the program, was that something that was developed in your head, or was it during that pilot program with the other mentors?
So originally, it was mainly best intentions. We wanted to create attraction, to have interest by people who want to have that support. And on the other end, we wanted people that wanted to share. So once we identified and had that list on both sides of people who are the mentees and the mentors, we ran through an initial just conversation. Let's see what you want to achieve. And that's it. Once we got that right, we had an understanding of who the mentors were, or at least I had an understanding of who the mentors were. And it was, I believe that this person should work with that person. And that's it. And we brought them in together to run on a journey. And it's an example that I always give today. It was more of a put one and one together and off you go and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I realized that no. It has to be structured. We have to bring something in addition to just put people together. That's where we got together as a group, some of the mentors and other volunteers that joined us rapidly. And we discussed what are the key points, pain points that people have today in their job hunt, in their actual careers, during their studies, at different points in life. What do they struggle with? And how can we bring content and at least build an initial agenda for the mentor and the mentee to work on? Mm-hmm. So we started with building a short list, or a very, very short list of agendas with content and documents and videos, not that we produced, but videos, famous TED Talks or others that were available, or articles that we thought can add value to someone. And we collated everything into some sort of a repository. Mm-hmm. And when we put one and one together, we said, here's our guidelines. You don't have to follow these topics, but if you don't know how to tackle that, you might want to consider talking about networking or communication or setting SMART goals. And we had different topics, and we just offered that to the mentors and the mentees to discuss between themselves. And if they have an idea that they wanted to explore that is different, go for it. From that moment onward, we structured it even further. So there were a lot of touch points and conversations that the operations team walked with the mentor and the mentee to ensure that they are progressing. There's one thing to put people together. There's a completely different thing to ensure that the time that they spent actually leads to somewhere. Otherwise, we're wasting everyone's time.
Yeah. So I imagine then that it's sort of grown iteratively over time. It sounds as though in the beginning it was just, oh, let's fly by the seat of our pants, everybody get together, grab a mentee, grab a mentor and see what you can come up with. And then there was a layer of structure, the additional collateral repository that would give people reference content that they could refer to. And I believe that it's becoming a bit more formal these days in terms of some achievements that you've reached recently.
Yeah, so it has definitely matured quite a lot. So if we started with a list of topics or agendas that we provide, we've put some processes and a bit more involvement of our operations team in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
We also set a lot of expectations and requirements when someone applies to join the program. I had a conversation with an organization that we collaborated with, and they asked me about the process of bringing people in. If a mentee wants to apply, what do they go through?
Mm-hmm.
And the perception was it's free, so someone just tick a box, put the details, and they're in. And I actually dismissed it, and I said, no, it doesn't work that way. For anyone who wants to join the program, they have to first submit a self-assessment. This is them sitting and reflecting and put everything in writing for 20 to 40 minutes and writing everything based on questions that we give them to tell the reason for them applying to the program. What are the challenges? What are the goals, the short-term and the long-term goals? Why do they need a mentor? What is the current position that they're at? And so on and so forth. And only when they submit that, it goes to an evaluation group, which is part of the operational team. And we all meet once a week and we review every application. We have a discussion about it. Do we get enough from the individual? Do they know what they want to achieve? And even if they don't, it's fair enough. That's where we come in. We can help them. But we need to see, and that's something that we're very strict about, we need to see that there's desire and commitment. And whoever the person who is applying, they are serious about it. The reason we're saying that is because we've seen for a number of times, people get a freebie, so why not? What do I have to lose? Well, in actual fact, there's a lot for them to lose and for us, because it's our time that we are just volunteering to support someone else and really want to make something out of it. We want to make a positive impact on someone's life. So if you apply and you put a self-assessment in place, it has to have enough meat in it. And if it's going to be a yes, no, black, white answers, it's going to be a no. If someone answers, when we ask what is the reason, and they answer, I need a job, that's a no. Because we're not a recruitment agency. We're not putting jobs or job offers into in front of anyone. But if you are looking for a job, my question would be, why haven't you found one till now? Not from a criticism point of view, to really dig deeper into the reasons. And once you identify those, now we've got something to work on.
Yeah. Thinking back to, you said that you wanted to be the mentor that you wish that you had. Did you have a mentor at any point?
There's a yes and a no to the answer to that question. No, not a single one. Yes, a lot. And the way I look at it is I learn from every person. I seek advice from pretty much everyone I talk to. Not as in, please help me, but more of your opinion, your experience might be valuable to me. I want to hear it. I want to learn from it. And every person that I talk to, I always find something that gives me a new perspective, something to think about that I haven't before. So I had so many people throughout my life, my career, that I gained a lot from. Their advice and their experience added a lot to me, but never had a single one that I can say that person changed my life.
That's probably why you've ended up as well-rounded as you have, taking a little bit from here and there.
Yeah, maybe.
In terms of mentees who maybe don't make it through in that first round or their application's not strong enough, would you advise them to apply again?
So this is something that we try to really put the focus on the human side of what we're doing. if someone doesn't make the cut, if let's say their application is very, very shallow or doesn't have enough information, it's not going to be a no, end of story. And it's not going to be the automated response. We encourage you to visit our website and look
No
for
Dear
other.
John letters. Okay,
No.
good.
So every time that we communicate with anyone, that we bring a result or an answer for them reaching out to us, it has feedback in it, feedback that the person wrote. So if they wrote something that is too shallow, not enough, they will hear it from us and we'll encourage them with, this is what you need to do in order to join us. We encourage them to reapply, but focus on these items. There's always feedback. And we take that as a rule of thumb for everything that we do, even when we seek volunteers to do different roles. And someone doesn't make the cut, they will know exactly why. And it's going to be respectful, but it's going to be a constructive feedback so they can learn from it.
Well, you can't fix good news. I think that's a pretty good approach. So I understand that with the rise in AI, which is a wonderful tool and opens up so many possibilities, but it also can make things like responding to selection criteria a little bit easier and perhaps even sometimes paint somebody in a light that doesn't really reflect them. Mm-hmm. How is Mentor at Ford approaching or navigating that in terms of the mentee applications?
So we put, as I said before, a lot of focus on the human side of it. When someone applies, we deliberately don't use any AI tools to evaluate it because we believe that the person needs to evaluate the person. So if someone submits a self-assessment, we will read it as a group. We will discuss it as a group. We'll make decisions as a group and we'll provide feedback written by a person. We do use technology and AI tools to give maybe a different point of view, maybe to come up with something that it picked up that we didn't. But we are at the helm, we decide, and we discuss everything. Now, we noticed, and that's obvious with how the reality around us evolves, that a lot of the self-assessment, because we demand so much content, people use AI to generate the answers. Suddenly, everyone are native speakers, and their English is brilliant, and there are no typos, no nothing. That's okay. It's a tool.
Yeah.
But we take it to the next level. Let's do an interview after. So you submitted a well-written self-assessment. That's brilliant. Now let's have a conversation. And I'm not testing anyone that we talk to. I don't need to check their technical skills. I want to see if they can actually communicate properly. I want to see the body language, read it, understand the areas that we can work with. There is no right or wrong answers. If a person doesn't communicate well, it's a topic that we can focus on. So nothing will actually say, that's not the right person. Lack of commitment, yes, that will be.
Mm. So how would, in terms, so we've discussed the mentees and we've got the mentors there, but obviously you can't do this alone. Tell me about some of the partners and organizations who've provided support.
All right, so that's a growing list. It's a big and growing list. First of all, from a support that we get as part of the organization, the volunteers, we have, as I said, over 100 mentors all over Australia, and they come and go, as in they're not constantly mentoring someone. Sometimes they want to take a break and whatever, but at the same time, they're supporting us in every other thing that we're doing. We run workshops at universities, we run trainings, we run courses, and the mentors raise their hands and they're joining us to share again from their own experience. So we have that. We have a number of volunteers that run the operational side, heads of cohorts, program supports, relationship management. We have a lot of different people that add their bits into this big beast that is growing daily. But also we have organizations that resonate with what we do. They support us, some with in-kind contributions, others are supporting cohorts that we run. Because there is an associated cost to run a mentoring cohort. We run 3-4 a year, each one between 10 pairs to 30 pairs, and there are associated costs with it. So the last one, the current cohort, I can tell you that Beyond Bank decided we're going to take that on us and we're going to give scholarship to people so they can benefit from a mentor for free to them. The mentor is volunteering, but as I said, all the associated costs around, we have a backer, a sponsor. We have universities that collaborating with us. The Edith Cohen University, one of our strongest supporters, that we embed our programs, our content into their curriculum. The School of Business with ECU is embedding ourselves, our lectures and our topics into their curriculum. We work with Curtin University. We work, as I said, with WODZI, with Chamber of Commerce. There's a long list of.
Do you find that the educational establishments have really recognised the value that Mentor at Ford can add by rounding out the technical skills with those soft skills? Do you think that's been part of their desire to support in an ongoing sense?
I think it's getting there. It is growing. It is quite a journey, because the university, I can tell you that one of the conversations that I had previously with one of the universities is highlighting the added value that we bring to the table. Talking about a topic, let's say communication, for example, there's a lot of people who talk about it. And I'm not presenting me or one of our team the best in town. I'm just saying that whoever talks about the topic needs to bring track record with them, someone from the industry. You talk about workforce dynamics, come from it. Don't talk theory to us, bring experience. So when we put that in our during a conversation with the university, and we say our mentors are CEOs of companies, heads of departments, entrepreneurs, senior people that talk from experience, that light a switch. And some of the conversations lead to, all right, while we do that, our people come from different backgrounds, maybe not the same as yours. Let's explore it. And that's what we've done. And once we actually get there, I can see that the university really realized that the value, and we're having more and more and more as we go.
It's fantastic. It's great to see the momentum building, and a huge thank you to Beyond Bank for your support. So going back to the very beginning, I know that you were first asked to mentor, and that was where this need came to build a program that could support more people. I believe you've taken it up a level recently with the NDEIC program. Would you like to tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, well, the NDEIC is one specialization of a much bigger program. 2 years ago, once we ran multiple cohorts with the mentoring cohorts that we had and still have, we had an internal conversation in the group, and one of the comments was the impact that we're making today, or at the time, was on an individual at a time. So you want a mentoring program, mentor against a mentee, one person benefit from it, and a lot, but it's always one. We wanted to scale it. We wanted to take it and just scale the impact. And the only way that we believed is possible is by harnessing the entire business ecosystem into that, play a part into what we call the continuum. So we designed a pathway for an individual from their secondary school stage, let's say years 10, 11, 12, then the transition to the tertiary education, whatever that is, universities, TAFEs, and so on and so forth, and then into the workforce. That journey, we believe that there's so many players throughout the journey that can join forces, operate with Mentor at Ford to provide that continuum. And the NDEIC was our specialized version of it to support the neurodivergent individuals who are on any part or stage in life throughout that continuum. The way that we designed it is by bringing and collaborating with secondary school specialized in neurodivergent individuals today. And the first one is the Lynn Beasley Academy. They are based in West Perth, beautiful campus and beautiful people involved in that. We partnered up with them to support their students, their young adults or young students, to walk with them and building those soft skills in the context of the workforce and the later stages in life. So we embed ourselves, our own team, running all sorts of different courses. I can tell you emotional intelligence is there. As I said before, communication, problem solving, time management, and so on and so forth. There's a list, but the entire semester is now running with us, trying to enrich their individuals. but the continuum continues after. So for a neurodivergent individual, the real difficulty is not during school. It might be, but the school is doing great work with them. It's the transition in between. When they graduate and they move to the next step, this is where the support stops on one end and starts on the other. That transition is a challenge. And
because it's not automatic, is it?
It's
for them
not.
To
And
find
they go to different, or take different paths.
Yeah.
So the person who supported them on one environment is no longer there to support them in the next one. The continuum offer exactly that, to be with them throughout their secondary school, helping them in their transition and continue with them wherever they decide to go. So we really want to spread and put ourselves along the way of pretty much everywhere. That's why we need the organizations around to be involved. That's why we have the Lynn Beasley Academy involved, representing the secondary school. We have the Autism Academy and Curtin University representing currently the tertiary education. And then we have Chamber of Commerce and Industry, WA, representing the workforce. So you create a continuum, and we work with each entity along that continuum to support the individuals who go through it. But even then, it's not linear in our view. It spreads. And if you think about secondary to tertiary and then to the industry, where? There's so many options. There's so many areas. We can't really pretend that we know it all. We don't. So we decided to introduce what we call an industry hub. And an industry hub is a representation of an industry or a sector, a peak body that specializes in that. And I can tell you that currently we established partnerships with the Australian Computer Society Foundation, ACS, and they represent the ICT sector. WADSI represents the WA Data Science and Innovation sector. And we have a few others that we're not in a position to reveal their names yet, but they will represent different sectors as the individual progress. So someone who finishes university today wants to explore the energy space. We will work with a peak body representing that and can give that level of support and mentoring, guidance and everything to really walk them through, make the introductions with the right businesses to walk them through where they want to be.
So you're looking for industry bodies or industry hubs, across all industries. So that could be hospitality, it could be healthcare,
can be
it
tourism,
could be media, tourism. Really, there's nothing that.
Yes, we will appoint or work with a peak body that represent a sector. It might be one, might be a number, depends on the location, depends on a lot of things. But we want to have this SME entity that if a group of people wants to explore legal or marketing space, then we will provide that level of support, but we will hook the industry hub to enhance the level of support that we can provide.
And the industry hub, I imagine, would benefit because these people are tried and tested. They've been through the program on that journey all the way. So the ability for them to be able to navigate workplaces and have those soft skills is going to be greater than somebody who is not involved in the program. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And they provide, it's promoting their own field better than anyone. They are representing their sector. So who better to talk about it than them?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the NDEIC, you said, is a small part of a larger program that you hope to roll out. Can you tell me more about that?
So the NDEIC, the neurodiversity, it's a mouthful. So let me remember.
I think you need a new name for this one.
Yeah, no. That's why we have the acronym. It's the Neurodiversity Employment Inclusion Continuum. It's the Employment Inclusivity Program, the big program that we have, the continuum, that specializes purely on neurodivergent individuals. But at the same time, it's a modular program. The concept is the same concept. It's the level of support and guidance to people from early days all the way to employment and beyond. Even when you think of really beyond, retirement, why not? The support is always valuable.
So you can help me to figure out how to retire?
Once you get to that age, then maybe. But we have different, I wouldn't say flavors, but different variations of that program. So one specializes, we said, neurodivergence. The other one is on veterans. We really want to support those who serve their country and left from different reasons and now wants to go into the private sector or the public sector. So that's a transition that is not as easy as people might think.
What kind of challenges would somebody face coming out of being a veteran and into public employment?
These are completely different environments to operate in. A person who spent years or tens of years, dozens of years in the military, now getting out, the structure, the discipline, the interaction, everything is different. The hierarchy, it's all different. And we're not saying that, again, we need to go and really wire something new in their heads. It's more of guiding and exposing and just providing that level of support to understand that we're here to help and to give you different options. So veterans is just one demographic that we want to focus on. We have in the pipeline as a program that we are about to roll out is focus on Aboriginal communities, Celt communities. We have a long list of different demographics that we want to focus on. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the first sentence that I said, everyone. We specialize in groups, but we want to support everyone.
And I imagine that to scale things further is going to require additional support than where we are.
Correct. So this is not what it can't be rolling or running on the basis of volunteering as we started at the beginning. That's great from a community mentoring that we're doing even today.
And you've built incredible momentum.
And it will continue to grow, both from a momentum perspective and then the head count of people that want to be involved, 100%. But when you start to go and look at the bigger program, the community, the employment inclusivity program, the continuum, this is where you need to bring professionals to run workshops and trainings and courses and seminars.
And all those things cost money, right?
Exactly.
I'm going to ask you a very direct question, Haim. How have you been funding this so far? Have you got a magical pot of gold at the end of a rainbow somewhere?
No, but if you find one, I'd love to have that. No, so the organization started with the initial investment from my own personal business. I strongly and still do believe in what we're doing, and I would say 90% of the funding came for the last 3 years from my own business. Having said that, we do have sponsors that either sponsor cohorts whenever we run them, or we have partners who join and provide financial support to run our own activities. That worked well, and it does work well until we launched the continuing program, which is significantly bigger with a significant investment involved in it. We are running pilots at the moment. So the pilots, again, it's our own commitment, our own investment. We're running it with Curtin University, with the Lynn Beasley Academy, with different organizations. We work with the Chamber of Commerce, but to really roll it out, to work with every school, every tertiary education, every business that can benefit from those type of services, we will need support in funding.
Yeah. One of the sayings that's on the Mentor at Ford website is, you haven't come this far to only come this far. I suppose that was put up there for the mentees, but it does apply to you in this situation, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that I've come too far just to say I came this far. No, it has to continue. It started, you're right, as a sentence for the mentee, to words of encouragement, to really tell them that it's just part of the journey. You want to continue, go further ahead. But that sentence applies everywhere, in everything that we do, especially in what we're trying to promote.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any particular success stories of mentors and mentees in the journey that you'd like to share anecdotally?
There's a number of interesting stories that I'm a big fan of them. People often ask me or comment when I tell them that they should consider joining the program as mentees or mentors. I often hear a sentence, what's the age, the max age to be a mentee? And I'm saying there is no age. And the immediate response, no, there is an age. There has to be like a university graduate or up to 25 or 30 maybe. Well, I can tell you that the most senior person who joined the program as a mentee, if I'm not mistaken, and I will have to apologize if I'm wrong with a few years, around her 80s.
Wow.
And yes, she is such a lovely person. A CEO of a not-for-profit organization that know about us, heard about us, and raised a lot of areas or a number of areas that she wanted some level of guidance and support to better run her own organization, which is brilliant. There is no age or too old or too senior to seek advice from. And she was paired with a mentor, half her age, slightly more than that. And they worked beautifully together. And it's one of our success stories. It's on the website. I won't mention the name here, but it's on the website. And it's just one example out of so many. And the numbers are just growing on a daily basis. We get feedbacks and testimonials that we can talk about endlessly. Another good example is someone from, and that's a good one that I really, really like. Someone from Adelaide, an individual that finished his degrees at university, and he wanted to get into the data space as part of his employment. And he was paired with a mentor that was, in this particular case, an old colleague of mine. And if I really go back in years, he was my mentee. So he acted as a mentor, and they really hit it off, and they clicked well, and something really, the vibe was so positive to the level that the mentor said, I need that person to work in my organization. And cut long story short, they offered him a job, and they're now working together. So that was never the intention. We never promised, we never committed to find a job for a person, but when it clicks and the opportunity is there, we'll be the first one to jump on it and say, let's make something out of it.
And it's a real mixed bag, isn't it, in terms of you've got people who are mentors and they're actively employed, but you also have many who have their own business, and the same with those mentees who may be going through a career transition. You said in the beginning that you're non-denominational. It's not about one particular industry or one particular type of person. So having that wealth of knowledge within that ecosystem to help them perhaps transition to a completely unrelated career must be incredibly rewarding for everyone involved.
It is. One of our first mentees, I just remember that to show you said, you mentioned entrepreneurship. So one of our first mentees is the owner of a local coffee place here in Perth. And his mentor, who was paired with him, is from Queensland, and he's an entrepreneur. And they were paired together, and it was mainly, I think it was fully remote, their relationship. Whenever the mentor came to Perth, they caught up. But one of our success stories. And the person, the coffee shop owner, got some guidance on how to generate new revenue streams and how to think a bit differently to enhance the business, to grow it even further. These are types of advice that you just need to be in front of the right person to share from their own experience, and then, boom, you've got a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Magic happens. So yes, every sector, every industry, here's two that are not in the technology space, and yet they're working well together.
Yeah. So now that you've made it this far, is the goal to still go global? Is that something that's in the back of your mind?
Well, when I started this organization, I came up with, you can do the math. I mean, Mentor It Forward, I'm a big fan of the movie Pay It Forward, if you watched it. And I wanted to do something global. That was always the intention. It was some sort of a dream. Let's go global. Let's change the world. Let's make something massive. While the appetite is still there, I think there's a lot of things that we need to accomplish before we even opening the doors to make something global out of it. We will get there, but this is where we really need the big support to allow us to get there.
So just in case anyone with that big support is watching and you could look right down the line of that camera, what would you say to them?
Well, there are a few sentences that I say on the website and in a few videos that I recorded myself. And when people read it, I always make a semi-joke about it, that the only way that I find useful to convince people is by guilt-tripping them. So one of the sentences on the website is, and even in my speech, is the question is not why you should join us and support us in what we're doing. It's more of how can you afford yourself not to? And that's the message that I want to say to people who are listening to us. You have to be in it to really make an impact. You can't, and you shouldn't, sit on the fence and clap and cheer. While we appreciate it and we love it, we love the support, but in order for that to really make a significant impact, we need the involvement. both financially, but also the people themselves. Bring your organization in, be part of it. This is not a small movement that can work the magic and everyone can benefit from it. You have to be in it to win it.
And when you say bring your workplace into it, I believe that there are opportunities for organisations to become involved and to take the services of Mentor It Forward whilst providing that financial support. Can you explain how that works?
So there are a lot of things that Mentor It Forward is doing today. Whether it's the community support that we do for anyone who wants to apply, to the continuum, and that's more of a targeted supporting the individuals throughout their journey. But also we work with businesses who wants to empower their own employees, to uplift morale, to improve their career projection, to nourish the next level of leaders. We provide our own mentoring program, our own framework, the methodology, the content, the support, the guidance, everything as a service to organization. So if any business wants to really invest in their own employees, they can bring our program in by engaging with us. We don't bring the mentors to do that. We work with your employees by identifying who wants to be a mentor, who wants to be a mentee, and really guide them through, if they want to be a mentor, what does that entail and how to become better mentor. Then we run them through the exercise of matchmaking. We interview the mentees. We let them run through the same process as they run today as part of the community, but in the context of the business. And if the business wants to focus on specific demographic within the organization, then we have modules for that. We can focus on leadership. We can focus on any other topic within the organization that meet their own strategic direction.
That's fantastic. I think we've all been the victim of a leader who has been accidentally promoted beyond operational performance into that role without having the capability to be able to perform it well. So I can't imagine any organisation that wouldn't benefit from being involved in that aspect.
No, I agree with that.
I believe that there's something exciting coming up at the beginning of December.
Yes, well, that is something that I believe I won't be able to share too much on this podcast, but I will say that there is a new platform that takes the entire DNA of Mentor It Forward and put it in one really impressive solution that will be accessible by everyone, to take the entire mentorship journey end to end, from the early self-assessment stage throughout the entire interaction with the mentor, the content, the learning, the training, the everything aligning with the DNA of Mentor It Forward, everything captured in one environment that, if everything goes well, and it will, we'll see the light of day in December.
Excellent. Well, stay tuned for that one. Hopefully we'll hear more in the next few months. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us today, Haim, about Mentor It Forward?
Well, it's interesting whenever I think of, all right, where are we going from here? Started with something very specific, the community mentoring, and then another idea came up, and another one, and just growing. The thing that really drives us is the excitement, but by everyone around us. I've been told many, many times that whenever I talk to a person, me or anyone else, this whole concept is addictive. People just want to be part of it. They want to see it run. They want to make that impact, because it doesn't really require a lot from an individual. And to know that you're making such an impact, it's worth a lot. So the more excitement that there is out there, we'll take it. Just come on, join us in any role that you find relevant. Just reach out to us. Let's have a conversation. But more than anything, as I said before, for that to work, we need the financial support. This is where the magic really happens.
I can attest to the excitement. I came on board a few months ago as a mentor, and now I'm sitting here interviewing you. So, yeah, the momentum definitely builds.
Well, think about it. One of the beautiful conversations we had before.
No, very happy to be part of the journey, and hopefully a continually growing momentum that we'll have here.
I'm sure that we will. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for being here. And a huge thank you to Podwave Studios for supporting us in producing these podcasts. We will be seeing you in a month's time. I can't give too much away about who we're going to have on next, but stay tuned. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.